Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Soul and Social. My name is Tara, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host Renee. And we have a very special guest joining us, all the way from Cameroon in Africa, and it is Leila Kigha. I'm so excited to have her join us today. I've gotten to know her virtually the last couple of years, so this is the first time I get to see her. So I'm just going to talk about Leila for a second here. Leila, she is one of Cameroon's up-and-coming experts on personal branding. She's a brand problem solver, creative powerhouse, working at the intersection of public relations, journalism, marketing, and social media. A former TV and radio journalist by training and passion, she uses unique storytelling and reporting skills to help her clients uncover, subsequently leverage authentic brand stories. She's motivated business coach for high achievers who are seeking brand clarity, fresh ideas on how to emerge as experts in their chosen fields. She helps you clarify your brand, pursue your passions, and raise your visibility so you can live the life you love. A rising speaker, trainer, and writer, she speaks to groups of business owners, students, and women on branding, self-love, effective communication. She also shares her expertise with media outlets like Cameroon Canal English, YouTube channel, Leila Kigha, and Kyla. We were talking about this before, I'm sorry. And she's also the founder of a Douala-based consultancy, Car Communications, that helps go-getters around the world clarify their brand messages, pursue their passions, and raise their visibility communication strategies for authentic self-promotion. So fabulous, and thank you so much for joining us today. We've got quite a time change.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, it's awesome.
See you, Tara. Finally.
I know. I'm like, I want to hug you. Virtual hugs.
Yeah.
I told Tara, I need to join these groups because all these beautiful women keep coming on and I'm not part of this circle. She's like, she's our in girl. Tara, our connector. Thanks so much for joining us. We're both just sharing this right now. We're not we're not listening.
Yeah,
so
we're just
Cameroon, Africa. Where is that? Which part of Africa is that in?
Cameroon, that's in Central Africa.
Okay.
Central part of Africa. It's basically a typically French speaking part of Africa.
Oh wow.
We speak language. Yeah, we speak English and French.
Yeah.
I'm from the English region of the country, but I live and work in the French region of the country, so I speak more French.
Yeah.
Than English.
Well, you guys might as well be Canadian.
Yeah.
One foot in France, one foot in England.
Exactly. The only
Darn Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I had a roommate when I lived in London, England, who was from Africa, and he was from Johannesburg. And it was so neat listening because in London, there's a large amount of South Africans and Australians. And you can tell, especially with Africa, where in the country they're from based on the accent. But how many languages are there in Africa?
Oh, we have a whole lot. Cameroon, for example.
Yeah.
Cameroon, we have about over 200 ethnic languages.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It blew my mind.
Yeah. Where I come from, we speak what they call Lamso.
Okay.
It's typical to the Tika, the Bantu people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so what brings us together, we have the two official languages, the French and the English language. And then we have a third language, that's the Pidgin English, which is spoken, I think it's spoken a lot also in Jamaica.
Yeah.
It's like English language. It's spoken in Jamaica, in Nigeria, and in Cameroon. It's broken English language. So
wow.
Yeah, we have a whole lot in Cameroon alone. We have over 200 of them.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Talk about diverse.
Yeah, it is. And that's what we call Cameroon Africa in miniature. I mean, you find all of Africa in Cameroon.
That is amazing.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. What a mixing pot.
Yeah, it is. One of the reasons why I can't stay out of my country too long.
I bet.
Yeah.
Tara, I'll let you go
Leila,
first.
Leila, can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got doing this over where you are? Because you have, yeah, I've been watching you the last couple of years, and I'm like, this is so fun. So I want to learn more. And I well, and I love your message too, because you've always got stuff on self-care and self-love, and
Yeah,
tell us some
yeah.
goodies.
I think basically I'm a product of I think my experiences, the things I've learned, and the things I've gone through in life. I think they've made me a stronger and a better person. And above all, I think it has made me appreciate others more.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at where I've come from, how far I've gone, I can look at another person who is still on a journey, and I can say, hey, I think you can make it. You can. I understand where you are, and I think I can help you if I can to get to where you want to go to, because I've been through that kind of journey before. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of issues of self. I don't know if I'll call it self hate, but I've had a lot of issues of body shaming. I've been a
Yeah.
victim of it practically the bigger part of my life. It's always been one part of you is not all right, and unfortunately here in Africa, I don't know how it happens abroad. I haven't really had that. People are quite polite abroad, so they don't say it to my face. But here in Africa, I mean, somebody just needs to whistle and just shouts what he wants to shout and gets away with it.
Yeah.
And and the painful part of it is when you hear those words, even if you say, hey, I'm not going to pay attention, they live with you because words have power. And so when
Mm-hmm.
we go back home, we have a lot of those words in our heads, in our minds. We have a lot of things that have lived with us from childhood right up to university and beyond, and it becomes overwhelming. And what happens is you want to close up on yourself. You want to live in your own world. You want to stay away from people. You don't want to give another person an opportunity to say something about you.
Yeah.
And so that's how it has been basically. And the funny thing is, most of the time, a lot of people tell me I laugh a lot, and it's interesting because I've even in those situations, I just had to laugh. I had to laugh even if I was in pain, and I got to a point where I remember one particular incident that was like a kind of, it's what a Frenchman would call élément déclencheur. It's like I just knew there and then I had to change everything about it. I remember I met one man on the street. I was walking home one afternoon, and he stopped me and he stopped me and he was like, "Hey, young lady, you're pretty," and all of that. And so when he was talking, and then in the course of discoursing, I told him, "Hey, I'm not interested, and I'm rushing to go somewhere. So, please, maybe some other time or something." And he changed immediately and he told me, "Hey, my wife is more prettier." I was just talking out of pity, and he started saying a lot of things about my body and talking about me. I have a wife who is like a she lives abroad. She is. He brought up all those kind of things, and in front of him, I don't know where those words came from, but I told him, "Hey, you know what? I'm not going to change who I am because of you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like what you see, I'm sorry, but you just have to live with it. You have to
Yeah.
live with what you see, because I'm not going to change it." But when I got home, I cried my eyes out because I thought getting a job, living on my own, working and having people work under me will make a difference. People will look at me from a different perspective,
Yeah.
but that didn't change it. That didn't change anything. The status didn't really change anything. And so that's when I knew I had to change the way I look at myself so others can look at me from that perspective.
Whew.
And that's where I began. And the very first thing I did is I wrote a personal letter to all body shamers and to all body haters. I had to
Wow.
write a letter, an open letter to all of them, and I had to bring out all the instances of body shaming I know, and I had to talk from when I was in secondary school, where because of the kind of body I have, I had to be forced to buy razor blades, which I don't think were even healthy, to shave my body so I could fit in. And afterwards, even after that, I had a lot of skin diseases and stuff that had to come up because of that. And I had to blame even the magazines and television because they painted a picture of a woman that is not true. And I had to ask a question: how many women do you know out there who have faces that are so smooth that can breathe, faces that don't have pores? Those
Yeah.
are the images they sell to us, and we buy them, and we live with those images through our lives. And when we grow up, our reality becomes the strange issue, and those fantasies they come up with is what we buy as reality. And so I had to tell myself, this is who I am,
Yeah.
and this body I have, I'm going to live in it for the rest of my life. And so I'm going to choose to love it and to enjoy it and to make the necessary changes that I have to make, but in compassion and in self-love. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what brought me to a point where I began. And when I saw this for myself, that was about 2010. It took,
Wow.
yeah, it took so many years for me to really accept it, that hey, I made this choice and I'm going to live it on a daily basis. And it has been a journey. I still get a lot of hits, a lot of comments, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like pouring water on a duck's back. It just slides and just goes elsewhere. And that's it. That's what brought me to this point. And my business, it's also linked to my business, because I said, if I want to teach people how to excel in business, I think the best way you can excel in business is by understanding who you really are and
Yeah.
bringing out what makes you different, so you can really stand out in the midst of all the competition. And that's where, when I began researching, I found out there was something called personal branding. I'd never heard of it. That's 2012, 13. I'd never heard of it. And so I said I was going to go in for this, and I found some fantastic women who helped me, who trained me, who coached me, and brought me through a lot of things. And here we are today. And I'm trying to help other women.
Well,
Yeah.
I had noticed, I was explaining before the show that I had come across an article on the Times
Yeah.
Magazine's website about you and talking, which I'm only bringing up because it kind of blew my mind. You don't think about this stuff, especially in North America, where you had talked about how your grandmother sent your mother to school, to boarding school, and that was unheard of in your village,
Yes.
especially for a firstborn child in Africa. And how
Yes.
your mom, essentially as a single mom, did the same for
Yes.
you and sacrificed a lot to do that. And I think that alone is, not even just in Africa, but in North America, is we don't stop and appreciate all the opportunities we have, especially here, because for us it's just so taken for granted. But I
Yeah.
thought that article was so beautifully written, and how it was generational, the choice to educate and empower and stand in it. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
how did that happen? Because it sounds like you came from a long line of very strong women.
Oh, yes. My grandmother is one strong woman. I can't really say. She is in her 80s, I think getting to her 90s, but she still walks straight and alone.
Wow.
Lives in her home by herself. She does practically everything by herself. She is one strong woman. I remember back then when my mother was born, because she's the first daughter out of 9 children. Um, she went to primary school, and when it came to going to secondary school, it was a lot of people wanted her to get married.
Yeah.
They wanted to marry them off, you know. And my grandmother, she told her husband, my grandfather, that we should invest in this young lady. She's promising. She's showing signs of wanting to study. So let's give her the chance. It wasn't really something that was easy, and given that back then in my village, it's just of recent that we have electricity and all of that in my village. It was
Wow.
none of that. So she had to leave from my village to another place, another locality that's really far off. I think it's about 2-3 hours away. And she had to stay in boarding school alone for the first time, and uh, and she went through that. And interestingly, that's where she met my dad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I think that opportunity that was given to her marked her, because even when I lost my dad, I think I lost my dad when I was in I don't know how to say it that way, grade 6, 7.
Yeah.
That's Form 2, secondary school.
Yeah.
I was just my second year in secondary school. That's when I lost my dad, and she had to take my elder sisters, myself, and my junior brother all alone. And
Wow.
I remember how much she struggled to put me through boarding school, because she had a choice of taking me out and maybe putting me in a day school somewhere where she could be able to afford government institutions, but she
Yeah.
decided to keep me in a private institution. And she did everything a mother can do and even beyond to see me through till my ordinary level certification, when she said, hey, you have to do your high school, you have to stay at home with me, and you're going to have to go to school, but still the private school. But I stayed with her at home. And so it was that alone, the resilience. I think it built this resilience and this determination in her. And it's the same she did for us. She sent us, all of us, all her kids, everybody who passed through our home, her kids, even those who were not her kids, everybody has at least through the university education. She did
Wow.
everything. Remember, one time I was sent away from school because of my school fees. That was in Form 5 when I had to write my examinations, and she was really sick. And then I had a sister who was in Nigeria, a neighboring country, in the university, who needed money for her school also. And I remember she called me and she told me, hey, she will have to send the money to my sister, and she's going to see how she's going to sort me out. And so she sent the money to Nigeria. And she told me, okay, now she doesn't have money because she's sick, but she will take me to see my principal.
Yeah.
And she took me to school, but she couldn't make it because she was so sick that we got to my grandmother. And my grandmother told her, hey, let her go to school. You stay back. When you get better, she's going to come and see my principal. So I went back to school with no fees. And the interesting thing is, some days later, my elder sister, who was then university, I think she was at first year of university, she
Yeah.
came visiting. And when I went and saw her, she she told me she came to pay my school fees. And
Aw.
that marked me, because I know she had to do some jobs around in school to be able to raise that money for me. And when she came and she paid that, it meant a lot to me. And I realized, well, what my grandmother gave to my mother is the same thing that perpetuates to each and every one of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's always been that, always been wanting to see another person go as far, and as far as they will want to go. It built that in us. It built that determination in all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, I'll let Tara go because I can just keep asking.
Well, that's so incredible, because coming from where you're at, my understanding is a lot more difficult to do that and to go to school, and it's very different from North America here. So I'm sure
Yes.
you encountered a lot of challenges growing up with that, right?
A lot of them. A lot of them. A lot of them. Especially when you go to school, and you have classmates who seem to have an easier life, you know, and then you find yourself in my situation where you don't have a father, you have just a mother, which means if my mother can't, then it can't happen. And
Mm,
so when you look at other kids who came from comfortable homes, who came from homes that could afford a lot of those things, it was really challenging to live amongst them. But there's something very interesting. My mother, even though she struggled to put us through school and everything, there was never a moment where you saw my mother down, crying,
mm,
accepting defeat. She was always laughing and
yeah.
always providing the little she could. She made sure she gave us. And so we grew up. I remember one day she remembers one day she told me, what is she going to do? Uh, poor, poor woman. And I told her, hey, we're not poor. We're not poor. We've never been poor. And when she told me that, it marked me, because I realized that because of the kind of childhood, it didn't stink in my mind that she struggled to bring us up, because she made us have the best that she could afford at that time. And in that, it built in us a kind of what we call um, uh, 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 your the word is when you're comfortable in what you have.
Yeah.
You don't want to look at another person's own, but you're even when you
Grateful.
have just yes,
Yeah.
yes, just you have so little, but you're really grateful for it. You don't look at other people. You don't look at what other people have. You focus on what you have, and you're thankful for it. And so I
Yeah.
think that gratitude is what saw me through, that ability to be grateful even for the little things and for the little I had. And then I'm also so grateful for my elder sisters, because they also took the same attitude from my mother, and they kind of took over at some point in time. And so at some point in time, they were the ones looking out for us,
Yeah.
and she just came in when it was from her shoulder a little bit, and
Mhm.
care of us, and so it got to a point where I had to take over also, and take over my kid brother, so the weight can go off their shoulders also. So it's kind of a chain something. And the close knit family, we tend to support one another. We support each
Mhm.
other. We're there for each other, and so we don't really look outside to see what's happening, what we don't have. We look at what we have and how we're supporting each other, and we stay in that space, and that's what keeps us going.
Well, and I think even with that said, the power of gratitude is probably, partially even talking about the body shaming, that changing your belief system, especially for females around their bodies. And I know men deal with this too, but it is a tough thing to do. And I think, you hear about your gratitude and the strength of the women in your family. I think if you didn't have that, maybe you wouldn't have been so successful with changing your beliefs around your body and really embracing who you are.
Yes, yes, yes. That's really true, because it's one thing to say it. It's one thing to have this knowledge. I
Yeah.
accept that this is the truth about it, and it's another thing to leave it all together. And I think that's why I always tell women I talk to, or anybody I meet, you need to have a support system. It's very
Mhm.
important. You need to
You
have
tried.
a people. Yeah, I tried. People who are cheering you up, people who keep you going, people who can
Yeah.
look at you and tell you the truth, even if it's not what you want to hear, but they tell you in love, and so you can
Mhm.
listen and you can make the necessary adjustments. Yeah, yeah,
Well, and when it's told in love, you're willing to hear,
yeah.
the bad, the good, the all of it.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's a
That
powerful tool.
yeah, it is.
It is, and the thing is, it is something that you're right. You do have to practice it, and you do have to really be mindful of it to stay in that vibration on a consistent
Yes,
basis. And I imagine that's one of
yes,
the challenges that you probably would have come across, to
yeah,
really stay in that vibration and stay in that space with what's going on kind of around you
Mhm.
yes.
over there.
Yes, yes, really, really challenging. I remember one day, after all these years, I was walking down the street, and we have bike riders, people who ride bikes, commercial bikes, and one of them just passed, and he whistled at me, and I'm like, oh God, what is wrong with this guy? And as if it was not even enough, he turned and he says, "Hey, la grosse," he's like saying the fat one.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, I thought this thing is
yeah.
behind me. And that hurt. And that's when I realized that it's a continuous process. It's not just going to go away overnight. There are going to be
Yeah.
moments where it's still going to hurt. And and in the midst of that, you're going to choose how you respond to it. You're going to choose to accept what he's saying about you, accept the label, or you're going to look at it from a different perspective and say, hey, it's true. I'm not slim, but hey, this body, the way it is an instrument. It's a
Yeah.
vessel. It contains me, and what it contains is much more important. My spirit and my soul within is what is of gives you. Body is fat and you can't, and to you it shouldn't be. Well, this vessel, the way it was made to contain a soul that represents what it looks like. And so when you see a fat body, no, that's how I am inside. I'm very large. There is largesse within. It's so big within. And so you can't expect a small body to contain somebody who is so big. And so please permit me to wear my nature on my physical appearance to represent who I really am.
Well,
And so from that perspective, I say, okay, so I get by. Yeah.
well, and it's like I've told Tara before. I went through some stuff a couple of years ago, and I had dropped 30 pounds, and I was disgustingly skinny. But it was and not disgustingly skinny. That was the wrong word. Unhealthy. I was completely unhealthy, and it was bizarre to me how, for what you're saying, and people, judging people who are overweight or larger or not standard. I was
Yes.
judged in the same way. You're too skinny. It's gross.
Yeah.
You need to put on
Yeah.
weight, and it's on both ends of the spectrum. And
Yes, it is.
it's
It is.
and
It's,
it concerns me nowadays, because for us in our generation, it was magazines and TV. Now these
yeah.
kids are exposed to online, social media, the bullying, and
Yeah.
I know Clara's got twin teenage girls, and I have a 10-year-old who, at 10 years old, she's already, talking down about her body. And I'm just like, dear Lord, it is beautiful, however it is.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the point. That's why I have an association I'm working on. I call it Shine a Light Africa, and what I really want to do is I want to take the message to secondary schools, especially because I when I look at our young girls today, I can't help but feel compassion for them, because you have young children who are so obsessed already about how their bodies look like and how their bodies should look like, and the fact that what they look like right now isn't appropriate. And I remember I have a friend who has another friend who has a daughter that is a little bit overweight, just a little bit overweight. And when she goes to school, she's bullied in school a lot. And so when she came back one day, her brother, who is skinny, told her, "Oh God, can you lose weight so I can stop fighting in school for you?"
Oh,
And when he said it to her, she walked out. And I told my friend, I said, "Hey, that's wrong, because the issue is not it's not telling her to her face that she's overweight, but it's telling her she is beautiful
yes,
however she is. And then if it's important, if it's necessary, we can take the necessary steps for her to lose weight or for her to get healthy, for what I say.
yes,
Because I told my friend, fat does not necessarily means unhealthy.
no,
It's not
and
necessarily healthy. Yeah.
no, and
And
being the
so
opposite can be more unhealthy than being overweight. So, yeah,
exactly.
just saying, all the haters out
Exactly.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be. It
Yeah.
can be. And it's dangerous what this does to us, because people don't understand what it does to us. Because I was labeled an involuntary anorexic for some time, because unconsciously all of these shaming led me to you know, refusing to eat. Each
Yeah.
time I see food, I associate it to fat. And so unconsciously, each time I ate, I had to throw out. Each time I ate, I had to force it out. And when I forced it out, I felt fine.
Yeah.
Each time I ate, I had to force it out. But I didn't know it was that. I just knew maybe it was, I don't just like food. I always told people, hey, I don't like food.
Yeah.
But when I started researching about this, I discovered it was anorexia, and it's really unhealthy. It's
Mhm.
unhealthy for you to live through that. And it's terrible how many people go through this. Many people have such eating disorders,
Yes.
and many think that, oh, it's I'm trying to watch my weight, I'm on a diet. But I told a friend, look, it's an eating disorder. For you to eat and then throw out, for you to eat and throw out, and it's not healthy. There's
Yeah.
something wrong. Psychologically, there's something wrong with you. There's a problem you're not fixing. And when you fix this problem, it's going to be different. And now I can eat.
I
I can
love
eat and
that.
keep my food down. I eat and keep my food down. And when I don't eat, it's because I choose not to eat. Not
Mhm.
because I have a situation in my mind. I will go. I'll put on weight if I eat. If I won't put on weight if I eat. It's because I don't want to eat. And when I want to eat, I make sure I eat. And and that's the message I want to take to schools. And I really want to make our young girls realize that, hey, you're beautiful, whichever size of body you're in.
Yeah.
Whatever size of body you're in, you're beautiful. And that's what matters. You need to see more. You need to see beyond the physical body. You need to see beyond what the eyes meet. You need to see that inner beauty, because when it starts glowing, it even overshadows all of these. People don't even notice all of this anymore.
No.
And I always say, people would spend the time noticing all of this, they're really people who are so shallow in their minds.
Yeah.
Because when you focus on the important things, there's some things that really don't matter. Yeah.
I'll let Tara go because, again, I could just keep asking questions all day.
Oh my gosh, I love everything that you're saying. You're just giving so many good nuggets for people, and it's just amazing to hear it from your perspective, not here in North America, because, often we're talking a lot about that here. Tell us a little bit about the House of Kara, because I've seen it. I'm watching. What is this all about?
Oh, that House of Kara is a combination of my love for the African fabric, my love for shoes, and my love for Africa.
I know we both have shoe loves. We've talked about this.
I love shoes. Oh God, I
Yeah,
love shoes.
me too.
I could buy the same shoe in different colors, 10 colors, 20. I just buy without thinking. I just want to have them all. I really love shoes. I really love them. So I told myself, I want to empower women. I really want to empower women. I really want women to stand out. I want women, when you step in the room, people heads should turn. They should know somebody stepped in. And not only because of how you look, but because of the energies you emit.
Yeah.
What comes from you should attract people towards you, should make people want to come to you and ask about you. And so I said, I'm going to take my passion for shoes, and I'm going to also transmit the message through it. And so I got walking. I said, our African fabric, especially the fabrics made here in Cameroon, has a story. It has a story. It tells the story of each of the fabrics is typical of a particular region of the country, and it tells the story of that country, and it's a lot of the stories. It's around royalty, it's around resilience, it's around determination, it's around the people that stick together. And so I say, I'm going to take these prints, I'm going to put them on shoes, and I'm going to take Africa and all of these, and I'm going to channel the message. And I say, the shoes I make are not just for shoes' sake, but I want people to notice the women who wear those shoes. I want those women, when they wear the shoes, they should walk differently, they should talk, they should sit, they should laugh even differently. It should bring something different to your person. When you step into the room and you remember, hey, I have these shoes on. The spirit behind the shoes should make you walk,
They're
in that light.
superhero shoes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, I definitely feel more powerful with some heels on, I must say.
Yeah.
Wait, I know she often posts, she'll post pictures like, which one do you like, or do you like the flat? Then I'm always like, I like the fun one. She has really good taste. Yeah, we have that connection.
You're the heels, I'm the flats.
Well, I like both. I like flats too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told somebody you can wear flats and still be stylish and still make a statement. You can wear flats.
I saw your ballet shoes.
Oh yeah.
I checked it out. I didn't realize all the fabrics have a different story and are from, I had no idea. I've always found it amazing when you see pictures or videos of, Africa, all the colors. The colors are just, wow. We tend to like black and white here.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Or maybe it's just Tara and I.
We match.
We do.
Yeah,
Usually we do.
a lot of
And we
families
don't even
support.
call each other.
Yeah, I think
So
that's complimented. Yeah.
with the, with the Shine a Light initiative, I had
Yes.
noticed, and you're going to have to correct me here. I had
Yes.
noticed a little bit about, okay, I could be totally wrong here. Something about with girls going to school as well and helping girls go to school. Is that a part of it
Yes.
also?
What we did is we started with empowering women in our community where we come from. We went back to my grandmother. We said, since she gave to my mother, and we can give to we're going to give back to women in the community. And so we went back to the same community, to my grandmother's house, and we gathered women who have kids in school and who were struggling, and we wanted to empower them economically so they could take care of their children, because most husbands in our local communities spend a lot of time drinking. They sit
Yeah.
around, it's men, they drink, and while the women are the ones who go to the farms, who farm the crops, who take it to the market, who sell and bring back money home. And so
Wow.
we said we will look for a means to empower these women. First of all, we help them create a cooperative where they can save their money, so they could borrow from and lend money amongst themselves, just so they can keep their businesses going. And also we will serve as a kind of link between a farm to market, where we can help them market their produce to different buyers around the country, and those who are in need of their produce. And then also we're going to empower them with other skills that could come in handy when maybe the farming season, when or maybe when it's not season for farming and their crops are not working. So that's what we started with these women in my community. I think there were about 12 women the day we went, about 12 of them. And honestly, one of them, I think most of them, 9 children, 6 children,
Wow.
11 children. I mean, the numbers were alarming. All of them, they had so many kids, and we're like, oh my, so many kids. And so we really have to look at how we're going to help these kids, because growing up in a rural community where you don't have a perspective, you don't have something more to look for beyond. The next thing is you start having children at home. We start having
Yeah.
child marriages, and these are the things that really really promote all of that. But unfortunately, in my country presently, we have a crisis that's going on, and because of that crisis, it's taught us a whole lot. For the past 3 years, we have the English region and the French region are involved in a bloody, really really bloody crisis right now. A whole lot of people are homeless. Thousands of people have been killed and all of that. So we can't go to our communities anymore. The roads are blocked. People are killed when you're
Oh,
traveling home. So it has stalled that a little bit. And so I told myself and my sister that we need to maybe work with the young people we have where we are for now, while we hope that the things back home are going to change, so we can continue working with these women. And that's why we came back to schools in cities to take care of children for now. Yes.
so for people in Canada or for people watching, if they wanted to help, how can we do it?
Right now, a lot of for those women, our regions, what I know, they have. There is one thing I know they have. They have a lot of passion. They have a lot of determination, but I think what they lack is probably most of the time the tools
Hmm.
they can use. And so I think they need uh, uh, um, uh, hands-on skills,
Hmm.
people with hands-on skills that can be transmitted to them. It would really be awesome. Hands-on skills that can really make a difference in their lives and in the lives of their children, and even in the children we have here also, and even people who have uh, whatever that can make a difference in the life of the woman. In our rural communities, a lot of women have issues when it comes to what was trip had. It's it's really rare. They have traditional means, So what a lot of associations back here trying to do, they're trying to encourage them to use sanitary pads. Some are
Mhm.
introducing reusable. Some are donating pads so they could be taken to them. Some are donating equipment. Some are donating computers and other stuff that could be taken to them so they can learn from the person. For example, they could have an opportunity to learn the way we are right now. They can watch. They can be able to learn how to use the computer, because in this
Mm.
digital age, yeah, a lot of them have crops that can be transformed to so many things. I mean, where I come from, we grow a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
It's we have a lot of it. It's one of the staples in from where I come from, and that can be transformed to so many things. It can be
Mm.
transformed to flour, be transformed to so many what they call
It sure can.
puree.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have that here. We don't have the technology to do that. So when we give them such, they can use what they have with the help of technology to transform it to products that can be taken to the world, to products that the world can consume. Right now, that's what they really need. They need equipping. They need equipment.
Well, maybe
Yes.
we'll have to find out from you after the show, and we'll post it on the page of different associations or ways that, people can connect with you
Yeah.
or your town to help these women,
Yeah.
because I think, there's so many opportunities, like I said, that we in North America take for so for granted. And I mean, peace in our country is one that I don't think we realize how lucky we are to have it, because we've never had war here. So, you know, this is a normal for most of the world, what you're going through. And it's just, I think as Canadians and Americans, North Americans, it's kind of our job to help because we come from where we come from, and it doesn't take much to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the sanitary pads, that's one that blows my mind, because even in our country, there are so many women who can't afford it. And I mean, they're not cheap, but that should be there should be tax breaks for that, man, for us women. Just
Yeah.
saying. But that's something that should be provided to every woman, is
Yeah.
the
Yes.
opportunity for self-care in that sense, because that is so small but so big.
Yes. 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 So important.
Yeah, and I think
Yes.
it's amazing what you're doing, being the conditions that it's in and what you're surrounded with, and the smile that you put out, and it's just, you think you lived in the most peaceful nation in the world and everything was perfect. So I love that. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I think um to a greater extent is all of this is a lot more um as a result of my faith in God,
Mhm.
because that has it is what has transformed me beyond words. It's really transformed me when I look at how unconditionally loved I am.
Mm.
It really humbles me.
Mm.
This unconditional. I when you love somebody in spite of the faults, and the person is going to mess up the next minute, but you can still afford to love the person the same way.
Yeah.
that that alone brings me to my knees, and I'm like, if with all of the mess I have been through, and with all of the mess I have caused people and caused myself, and even I can be loved that way, then in turn that same love I have received, I have to give it. It is my
Yeah.
duty to give it out in whatever way, professionally. It could be a friend, an acquaintance, whoever I meet. It should be what they receive from me, love in an unconditional sense, and that has helped me, because I most of the time I don't expect anything in return.
Yeah.
and
Which
and,
is amazing.
And that has really helped me because I don't have expectations tied to it, because I can't even explain why I love the way I love. I can't explain it. It just happens that when I meet somebody on the way, I start looking at you from head to toe, and I try to find out what's going through your mind. And I just want to do something to make you better than I met you. And I can't explain why all that energy always goes into that. And a lot of people tell me, hey, you need to start asking people to pay you. You do a lot of things for free. I say that's why I do it. I think I think that's why I get up every morning and I still do it, because I don't have expectations tied to it. And I think I'm going to leave it that way. I'm not going to tie an expectation to helping anyone.
Yeah.
Tie an expectation to loving anyone. And that's why I tell people, I say, if you don't love yourself, first of all, nobody's going to love you. No one is going to love you. And to love yourself, you need to understand that there's this unconditional love that God Himself has for you.
Yeah.
And unconditional love helps you. It helps you appreciate all the things you have. I had a talk I gave, and I was talking about 6 steps to loving yourself to success. And I told people the very first is you need to love where you come from. Love your source. Where do you come from? Love why you are here. Why are you here on earth? Love the things that you have. What are those skills? What are those talents that you have that are really yours? Love them. Love them. And love yourself. Love all those things. And when I say love, I mean unconditional, total love for it. Love with no strings attached. Love with no expectations. Just love for love's sake. And when you bring yourself to all these things, you find yourself charting courses you wouldn't even imagine in your life that you would. For the past 10 years, I realized it's been 10 years that I've been serving in my church. And for these 10 years, I had to give up a lot. I had to give up relocating, going back to the UK and staying there for good. I had to give up looking for jobs all over the world and all over. I just had to give up all of these just because I wanted to serve. I just wanted to be there. Whatever was needed, I identified a need, and I told myself, hey, this is what I'm going to give myself to. I gave myself to the entire media department of back then. We didn't really have any. We didn't have any, and 10 years on, we have so many. I mean, there's a live broadcast every Sundays, Wednesdays. They have the YouTube channel, they have the Facebook lives, they have all of these, Instagram, Twitter, and and when I sit back, I am appreciative that I could be a part of that, and I still am a part of that, and that is what has built me too, because giving and giving without stopping, it's made me uh, this kind of person that can't stop giving, even though there are moments where I really, my mind tells me, hey, you need to stop, you need to get something, you need to get something, you need to get something. But I remind myself that I'm part of something that is greater than myself. And for that, I want to give my bit, I want to give what I can give. And when I leave this world, that's going to be a very long time.
Sorry. Had a phone call coming through. Listening to you talk, you feel like you should be shouting, "Amen, preach it, Zach." I want to dance. Yeah. It's
you have such amazing energy, Leila.
Yeah, and I think if we had more of you in the world, like I just want to jump through the screen and give you a hug. I seriously do.
Virtual hug.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Am I gonna freeze like that now?
I know. People don't realize the power of love, the power of just a smile or a hug, or the smallest acts of kindness can make the biggest difference in a person's world, and the ripple effect from that. And I think you're a walking example of that.
Yeah.
And you don't give in small ways expecting for it to be returned. You don't hold a door expecting for the next one to be held for you. You do it. And that's, like, I guess in my mind, that's what I hear when you talk, only on a bigger scale. And I think, I was doing a meditation this morning, and he was referring to, I can't think of who it was that said this, but they said, if you want peace in the world, you need to find peace in your town. If you want peace in your town, you need to find peace in your neighbors. And if you want peace in your neighbors, you need to find peace in your home. And if you want
Yes.
peace in your home, you need to find love within yourself. And I thought,
Awesome.
holy Hannah, so easy, but
Yes.
so hard.
So hard. Yes, it is. So hard.
Yeah. Oh, I love your message, and I'll let Tara talk because, again, I could keep
I
going.
know. I'm like, this is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. And I would love for you to tell everybody, where can we find you? Because you do write. I know you've got amazing blogs and articles that you do. Like I said, I've gotten to know this lady, but I've never gotten to see her yet. This has been awesome.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. I'm so happy. I blog a lot. I always say writing to me is therapy. So everything I write about is writing the moment my computer can get it out there. And so I blog on leilakigha.com.
Okay.
That's where I blog. I blog almost every week. For a while now, I've been so almost every week. I write about something that caught my attention or something that happened or transpired, and I want to share it with somebody. And then it's Leila Kigha everywhere. When you put both names together, interesting. All over the world, I'm the only one with that combination, so it's easy to find me. It's easy to find me. I told a friend of
Leila
mine,
Kigha.
I said, thank God I was born African. At least we have complicated names. If I was born American or Canadian or, my God, my name
There's
is
50 of us.
right? Yeah. So thank God I was born African. I have my name that's unique to me. And also, besides my blog and my personal pages, LinkedIn, Facebook, yeah, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not so much on Twitter. It's too small for me. Those number of words are too small to say what are in my mind. So I spend little
I'm
time
with
on
you.
Twitter. So there, and then Kara Communications, you can find me there. House of Kara, which Kara, by the way, means joy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering.
House of Joy. House of Joy. Yeah. House of
I love
Kara
that.
Communications. Yeah. So, and then you can get to me, Leila at leilakigha.com, or you can get to me at info@houseofkara.store. I think these two emails, it's very easy to get me. Or on Messenger, anyway, just pop in. If you pop up at any time, if I'm online, I'm going to see it.
You may get Canada messaging you, you know. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's dinner time for you and it's morning for us. And, you know, we really appreciate you coming on. And I know I'm going to speak for Tara here, but we'd love to have you back again sometime. And maybe we
Yay,
can
I'd
set
love to come
something up with
back.
the show to help spread some love down there in Africa and, you know, try and help with the problems that you guys are having down there in some small way. Maybe, you know, you never know. You never
You
know.
never know. Oh, thank you so much. That's so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah. Yes.
Have
Thank
every
you.
person.
And thank you so much for watching. And we value your time. And heart us, like us, share us. Let's spread a little of Leila's love around. And yeah, share the message.
And they ripple out.
Yeah, let's ripple.
We're rippling.
Yeah.
We're rippling. I love it.
So much. Thanks again, Leila. And thank you so much, Canada, for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.